Hey you there! Have you ever been Scholars Mated? It's it's an opening for beginners, but did you know that Grandmasters have played, bringing Green out early? Ooh, well that's why I clicked on this video. Today we're going to look at 4 games, 2 for Magnus and 2 for Hikaru. They have played the Scholar's Mate, although none of their opponents have fallen for it. But let's start off with Magnus. He's playing against Dominguez, a top 50 player. He starts off with e4. This was played in the St. Louis Blitz 4 years ago. And since it's a Blitz game, this is going to be fun. Queen h5 and we live. Knight c6, bishop c4, going for the Scholar's Mate on f7. Everyone plays here g6. Queen goes back to f3, still going for checkmate. And now knight f6 blocking it. Now this is how you play against the Queen h5 opening. Since it is all forced, the next move here is 92. If you go g4, there is for example knight d4 or d5 takes, knight d4, queen d3, and there is knight takes or bishop takes, and this is already winning for black. So you must play knight d2 here. They play it. Bishop g7, d3, d6, h3, knight e5 going for the bishop, knight c3 doesn't care, bishop e6, queen d3, just a stable game here, nothing is going on too much, bishop e3 developing pieces, f3 going for a stable position. If Dominguez takes here, then Magnus gets knight on e4, and there is no d5 to kick it away, so that's why he doesn't take. But rather plays queen h4 check, so that after queen g5 he gets control of some squares. If Magnus were to play bishop e3, I don't know. Yep, this is a hanging pawn, that's why. He's targeting this pawn, so rook g1, knight c5, queen e3, going for a trade. And actually it's better for black to put queens on the board because white's king is still in the center. But since it's a blitz game, black might maybe wants to draw. Now he takes, knight goes into the center, trades, and a6, knight c3, h5, just stable moves, endgame, king e2. Magnus looking away to trade into a beneficial endgame. King g7, knight d5, trades off everything, trades off everything, trades off everything. Okay, now what do we have here? We have equal amount of bishops. We have same colored bishops. Same colored bishops may not be a draw. Opposite colored bishops, always a draw. Except that if you are plundering every bishop like this. So, Magnus here is going for king d3, going for queenside play, king e8, bringing the bishop out, king moves, getting space, b4, king d7. Don't go anywhere. This is about to get really exciting. b5, trades, king takes, bishop d2, c4, and now look at this. b6, Magnus here goes for first king a6, king c8, g4, takes, getting rid of some pawns here. Bishop e3, bishop e1, shuffling, king b5. Now after king b7, bishop c1, shuffling. Magnus now goes for an idea that he thought of during all this shuffling. He was not shuffling mindlessly. He was calculating this line. He was calculating a5, losing one pawn. c5, losing another pawn. Magnus threw away 2 pawns because you cannot take with this pawn, you lose the bishop. Congrats. And if d takes c5, bishop e2, you cannot defend this pawn. Bishop e1, bishop e5, bishop f2. Now Magnus has a passed pawn, and that's all it takes to maybe win this game. He goes f6, bishop, c4, and now Magnus loses the advantage. He takes a free pawn. because Dominguez has c6, c6, takes, and this is not enough to win. But what was the winning line then? The line was bishop c3. It was because you are now stopping the pawn and enabling e5, bishop g3, e5, king c8, e6, king d8, bishop f6, king e8, and now you could take this pawn now, bishop d6, and now the way to win this endgame is to go fix on this weakness. You can always look for ways to win. Did you know that king could go to c8, bishop d8, and now win this pawn? That's actually a really dank idea, really advanced idea. For example, king b5, black has no moves. King f8, king c6, king e8, king b6, b5. If you go for b5, try to go for this pawn, white just comes back. White just comes back and then targets this weakness over here. So that's why this is winning. White is going to be up a pawn and black is going to run out of moves. And if not b5, there is king c8. For example, bishop back, there is bishop d8, and this is going to be a winning king and pawn endgame. So, enough with these complicated lines. The bottom line is bishop endgames are tricky. Every endgame is tricky, could be tricky. But this is how black is going to draw this, because there is now a passed pawn for black, a passed pawn for white, but not two potential passed pawns, no potential weaknesses, and they shuffle back and forth and make a draw. So, is queen h5 opening good? I would say that it was not bad. White was never in danger here. Magnus could have won this game. But you know, this is a blitz game. So we go on to second game. This is the World Rapid 5 years ago. World Rapid, Magnus is playing against 350 points elo lower, Shamshiddin Vokhidov. He starts off with e4, e5, queen h5, the same opening. And this is the same exact line. No, queen e7, defending against mate, queen e7. Now here knight e2 immediately as well. Knight f6, d3, bishop g7 developing, knight e5 going for a trade. Magnus takes with the pawn, knight a5. Now here, Magnus goes for d6. If you take with the queen, there is queen f7, so he has to take with the pawn. And now the bishop is parking there, disallowing b-pawn to move, dominating over this knight. The knight still goes to c6, and after bishop d2, queen f6, trying to trade queens maybe? Magnus declines because he is putting pressure on his pawns, his structure. Castles, knight e7, knight c3, and now the bishop could be supported by the knight. Queen f5 going for a trade. Magnus says no. Magnus wants to win this. Because, remember, Shamshiddin is up one pawn, so you should not trade queens here. You are up a pawn, and you are developing with the queen. Queen b4, targeting the pawn on d6. And now, here Shamshiddin makes a weird mistake. He trades the bishop for the knight. And when the pawn is targeted on d6, he cannot defend it anymore. If queen e6, knight c7. And yeah, you cannot defend this pawn anymore. Last move, you could have played queen f6, but now you cannot. But now, black plays king h7, Magnus gallops in with the knight, rook b8 only move, queen takes d6, and Magnus is no longer down a pawn. And I would say that this bishop is not a bishop here. This rook is about to get trapped, and this bishop is looking at nothing. Magnus is doing great in this opening that is supposed to be for beginners. Very strange stuff here. b6 trying to take the bishop out. Here, since it's a rapid game, I would expect Magnus to find this move. I would expect Magnus to find the only move to win this. It's 98. Discover the attack against the rook. Well, yes. Rook takes, knight, queen takes, rook. Up in exchange, why not? Rook is worth 5, knight is worth 3. But I would imagine that Magnus did not like something about this, because if there's rook b7, I would think he would find knight takes bishop. It's a capture. King takes bishop h6. Rook queen takes f8, and you win a bishop. You are up so much material. I mean, you would find this. Two forcing lines. I would think you would find this. Magnus instead plays f3. But now bishop b7. There is no knight e8. Rook a to e1. And Magnus is no longer winning. No longer better, because his pieces are in the way. His pieces are in the way. Bishop c3 to blockade the rook from the pawn, but Magnus blunders bishop f8, and he cannot defend the knight anymore. He cannot defend the knight anymore because queen takes c5, queen takes bishop d6, and you lose the piece. You lose the piece. Magnus instead goes for a weird one. He goes for knight b5, sacrificing the queen to get a rook and a bishop. But wait, this is strange. He lost the knight. So black has a queen and white has a rook. What? So Magnus wanted to go for this counterplay, but there is just nothing. There is nothing there. He's instigating, he's fixing the structure, trades off, gets some pawns, but black just wins. Black just has a queen for a rook. And Magnus resigns after this because you cannot even take the pawn. Because their check, forking the king and the bishop. If king defends, queen e1 check, and g5 mate. Okay, that's why he resigned. That was a bad game for Magnus, a bad day for Magnus, because he did not find the move knight to e8. Had he found that, he would not have had any trouble winning this game. But you know, we have another player, Hikaru. This is a game from 18 years ago when Hikaru was 2662, which is still a pretty high number. Here it is, e4 a5. This is the same opening, forced and the best for most players. Knight e2, bishop g7, knight c3, all of this stuff. Bishop g4, a new one. Queen d7. This is a classical game, by the way. This is a classical game. You know, no one's going to blunder anything here. d4, going for all the principles, trading off. Oh. Both guys went long castles here. This is going to be very exciting. White goes for knight f4. Very nice. Rook g8. Rook h to e1. King b8. King b1. He goes like, oh, I forgot. I haven't done that move yet. So it went on with king b1. g5. Knight goes to e2. Rook g to e8. Just shuffling. But now here, Hikaru misses the tactical idea here. I'm going to put on eval. I don't know why it's not on. Sorry. I'm going to put on eval. Okay. Now, Hikaru misses e5 here. And why this is good is because if knight moves, let's say h7, there is now a double attack on the queen and the bishop. Okay. So knight cannot take. What if pawn takes? This is the most reasonable. Well, now the queen is trapped. And you have to sacrifice the rook. Now, I don't know why Hikaru does not like sacrifices like this. I mean, I don't know why Hikaru doesn't like getting a rook for a bishop. I don't know why. Instead, there is g4 here, just g4, knight g3. You know, going for positional maneuvers here. 92. I don't know. They're calculating all sorts of stuff, but this is all equal. There are many lines that work for both sides here. Queen e3, pawn takes. Hikaru trades off some pieces. Rook h5, 95, shuffling, but Hikaru is starting to lose the advantage. 94, rook h3, c4, targeting T's, rook f2. Black is trying to infiltrate. There is a lot of play here, but the bottom line here is that this is a long game, but Hikaru goes for c5. It's the best move, sacrificing a pawn. But yes, queen c3, f6, rook c2. But rook c2 was a mistake here. He should have gone for queen b4 to threaten knight c6 check, winning the queen. If b6, you have knight c6. So king a7, now rook c2, because now there is no longer knight a4. But when he does it this way, there is now knight a4 and bishop d7. Now Krishnan's pieces are more active because now he trades off the rooks. The king has been cut off. There are many pieces near black's king. There are many pieces near white's king. Queen f8. Now Hikaru is down a pawn here. He's trying to save this as a draw. And he is doing a good job here. He's finding the best moves. Just, yep, you give checks. I just defend nicely. Rook c5, targeting pawns. d5 getting active. e5, trading off pawns. Yep. But actually here, knight e6 should have been played. Because after knight e6, takes, rook takes. This is a draw. Even if it doesn't take, there is no way to defend this pawn. But wait, this is actually not a draw because of king b7 or king c7. King c7, rook f6, a4. Wow, this is not drawing. There is 3-on-1. It is not going to be a draw for white, sadly. So knight b3, rook f1, king d2, a4. The knight is basically trapped. If knight c1, rook f2 check, king d1, and you lose this pawn, you are not going to stop 3-on-0. So Hikaru instead sacrifices the knight for 3 pawns. And he's trying to make this a draw. But unfortunately, black has 1 pawn. And this pawn is a good one because the king could access it very easily, and now Hikaru is in a mating net. He has got himself into a mating net. Rook e3, bishop d5, rook just attacks, but yep, defended, and now it is going to be mate. Only b3, just shuffling, and this pawn is ready to promote. Yep, blocks with the bishop. g7, queen. He even allows Hikaru the queen because he could pre-move ladder mate, just pre-move ladder mate, and that's the checkmate. Pre-move ladder mate, that's the checkmate, and Hikaru sadly loses this game. A long game, but he had a bad day. He missed this move e5 to win the rook. Because if rook d1, rook takes, still trapped. Yeah, knight g4, takes, now you are up a piece. But yeah, that's how some games go. Here is another game from Hikaru. He played this 18 years ago. This is also a classical game in Minneapolis. It's also the same opening. D6, all of the same opening. But bishop e3, bishop e3 takes d5, castles, knight e3. All right. There is now double p pawns for Hikaru. He's quite a little bit worse here, but he can handle this. King h7, b4. Huh, that's really nice. You cannot take because of this fork. Nice, nice. a6, c3, queen d6. By the way, if you're still watching this, thank you, you're a legend, because I'm just really focused right now. Here, queen d6 is played. I'm wondering how both players missed this. How did both players miss a skewer here? Hikaru did not take, by the way. Hikaru did not play bishop c5. What in the world is with grandmasters missing these skewers? Like, why do they not like to win rooks? Why do they not? Very strange. Knight g3, and the game goes on as if none of them even saw it. Like maybe they saw it and then they rushed out of the room into the bathroom to cry or some or something like that. Yeah. Rook f to e8. Rook e7, just shuffling. f4, going for pawn break. If takes, then takes. We could have massive exchanges here. But yeah, we could have massive exchanges here. But that does not happen. Oh, it does actually happen. But knight f6, e5 closes. Outshop d4. Everything is closed now. Yep, still trying to get some play here. Yep, they traded off queens. So now they are just shuffling. Oh, Hikaru got double rooks here. Knight g8. Knight to h1. What? Rerouting the knight to f2. G4, e5 to get an outpost. Very nice. Bishop h2. Oh, this is now bishop h2 to get away from these rooks. c6, knight c5. Rook h8, yep, just going for this e5 square. First he defends this and then goes to b4, attacking the rook. Rook b to e1, knight g8, b3, attacking the knight. Yep, there is still defending b3. Oh, the rook is now trapped. Wow, the rook is now trapped, but there is b5. Is there b5? King h1, what are they doing? Oh, knight a4 got active, very active. Rook c2 just defending. That's a little passive, Knight goes back to trade. Okay. No, doesn't trade. Attacks the bishop. Now. Uh-oh. How do you defend both of these? Takes the bishop. Bishop e5 attacks the rook. Now c4. Aha. Now he can defend this and attack the knight. Takes. But now a brilliant move! Knight takes d4! Because the knight is hanging. Takes. Hikaru is down a pawn again. No! Bishop e5. Rook e7. Is Hikaru going to lose this again? He's doubling up rooks again to attack this. Does he go back? Nope. He counterattacks. What? It's a draw. What? No! How are they drawing this? But Nikola is up a pawn here. I don't know what grandmasters are doing here. I don't know. I would definitely go for a win here, but they think it's a draw, basically. I don't know. Maybe Black was low on time and Hikaru had so much time that he just offered the draw and Nikola accepted. But is Queen h5 opening good then? Because in most of these games, I mean, Hikaru had chances to win both rooks in both games. And Magnus had also 2 games where he could have won the game. So I don't really know. It's maybe a level difference. Maybe the elo difference is what decides the game. If you like this video, you are a legend. You are still watching here. I thank you, and I will make more. So see you.